Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes, building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I found I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSC.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today. Hello, welcome everyone. We are super excited to have you here today on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the power of etiquette and manners. And we're going to look at what is a polished professional? First, I want to welcome our new followers on all of our radio channels, including, but not limited to, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and more. And also welcome to our new followers on Instagram. And of course, thank you to all of our loyal followers who have been with us since the very beginning. Let's get the show started by welcoming the star of our show. He is the principal and founder of the British School of Excellence, where they are transforming lives every day. Welcome, Mr. Philip Sykes. Hello.
A pleasure, Dr. JACALYN. What a joy to see you. Thank you for playing that amazing intro. It does make me feel very emotional, but also very proud at the same time. And it's the first time I'm joining you this year, so a very happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and it's Friday. Yay! So glad to have you back. How were your holidays, Philip?
Yeah, actually fantastic. It was a wonderful getaway. we were in the snow in the northern Alps of Italy, and I had the privilege of spending some quality time with my younger brother and his family, and we skied and embraced the beautiful mountains, the snow, the weather, the company. And Dr. JACALYN, viewers out there, if you ever need any guidance or steering when it comes to skiing in the Alps, in Europe, reach out to me, because it's one of my other major passions.
Philip, I have to say that I saw you in your red, I don't know if you call it a ski jacket or a parka, and it looked very cold. I thought, oh my goodness, my friend is in the cold. But you were actually reporting live for the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show with Ian Palm-Turner and Helen Ashard. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so again, I think when duty calls, you've got to make a plan. And I literally had to scruff around for a Wi-Fi connection, and I said to Helen and to Ian, look, bear with me, and I was able to communicate to the best of my ability from this beautiful resort of Cervinia, and we were just talking about how we can impact this year and how we can make a difference, and how important it is to ground ourselves and spend quality time with one another, make that effort. And Dr. JACALYN, I mentioned to you that 23, I think for many people, for whatever reason, has been more than a challenging year. It was a very challenging year across the board for many people. And I can say that with confidence, because the amount of people I've spoken to, and I haven't even instigated the conversation to be negative, but everyone I've spoken to seems to feel the same way. And this is Year of the Dragon. 24 is a year that we're going to embrace. It's a year that we're going to make really big noises and make a huge impact in a very positive direction in this world. And we as human beings need to stop looking in the rearview mirror. We've got to look forward.
I absolutely agree with you. And I just want to let all of our viewers and our listeners know that they can also tune into the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show, which is going to be following this program at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And we do have a comment from our friends at Push Child Foundation Uganda. Hello. Happy New Year to you all, Sister JACALYN KERBECK and Mr. Philip, our hero. Oh, that's
amazing.
Priceless. Fantastic. Thank you. Welcome to you all. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our topic today, which is who is the polished professional? And it's really about incorporating a lifestyle of etiquette and manners into New Year's resolutions. And as I got prepared for the show today, I was really conscientious of the fact that I wasn't wearing a jacket, but it's so hot in this studio. The sun is beaming on me and I'm already sweating. So I want to incorporate that too as we get into different work modalities, and maybe you're out in the field, for example, or you're in a hot office. What is part of being polished, and how does that fall into etiquette? So tell us a little bit about the work that you do at the British School of Excellence, and then we'll really dive into the polished professional.
Excellent. And Dr. JACALYN, with all due respect, you always manage to scrub up well. You always look fantastic. And again, you can't be in a studio and feeling uncomfortable, because I don't think then you would be mentally and emotionally really present. But you make such a great effort to look, and you look fantastic. And again, when you are in this industry, it's also beautiful for people to see a very vulnerable, natural, open side of you. I was actually having a conversation with my colleague a little bit earlier, and we were talking exactly about this, that sometimes you see someone who you are used to, for me, for example, seeing a suit or blazer and tie, and next minute, wow, there he is on the beach with his son and a t-shirt on and a cap. That doesn't really match or go. And I think this is where we as human beings need to understand that wherever you are, if you can get a wonderful message across and put it out there, as long as you're not in your birthday suit, I think you can get away with potentially reasonably well presented or reasonably well dressed. So that's my input on that. Secondly, your wonderful question of the British School of Excellence. We are here to guide and steer people in whatever capacity it is. It really does sort of fall into one of our slogans, and that is building confidence, changing lives. That is what we do. There's no pretentiousness. There's no nonsense with what we do. We give you core, key life skills in building that confidence. How do I find a way to make myself stand out from the crowd? how can we do this? How can we make a difference in this world? And really, it's one of our slogans on our mug here that I carry with me, or give to guests and customers and wonderful students. In a world where we can be anything, just be kind. And this is what this organization is very much about, is building confidence, giving you that ability to really build the best and discover the best version of yourself. Because we're all good people. We're all born good. We need to find a way just to elevate ourselves on a daily basis. And that's what we do here at the British School of Excellence.
Thank you so much, Philip. I appreciate that. And I have highlighted here on the screen, Building Confidence, Changing Lives. You have some upcoming courses, including the Polished Professional. So we're going to dive into what is the Polished Professional, who is the Polished Professional, and why should people actually care? And then we'll come back to your website. So when you thought of hosting a course with this title, what was coming to mind for you and your team?
Well, firstly, we've managed to somehow get that trademarked. So the Polished Professional is actually a trademark name, which was a massive coup. For me and for the team, the Polished Professional is really about how do we show up on a daily basis. It's not just focusing on being that professional person in the business world, in the corporate world. It's being a polished professional is a lifestyle choice. And with that comes a huge amount of responsibility. And I truly believe that the wonderful quote by Clarence Thomas, good manners will open doors that the best education cannot. For me, good manners and etiquette will more than likely open up those doors. Absolutely, 100%. Education is fundamental and key. And the fact that Nuagera Enoch came on there from the Push Child Foundation, who we support and are very close to, is a true example. There he is battling away in Uganda, trying to get these beautiful children some education. And that for me is key, because these are beautiful people. You must see them just with a little bit of watermelon in their hands. Their eyes light up, their faces light up. It is absolutely phenomenal. And here, a lot of us in the Western world and these wealthy countries, for us, a bite of watermelon, chuck it away. Who cares? This education is very, very important. But having said that, if we don't have the privilege of education, I want to share with everyone out there that by building yourself into a polished professional, no matter what you did academically at school, no matter how maybe not the sharpest tool in the box at school, maybe you were more sporty than academic, who knows? But the most important thing is you can bolt on these phenomenal tools and skills and become that polished professional and choose that way of life.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Philip. And we do have a comment from someone on Instagram, Janet Noor Hazrat. I hope I said that right. So happy to see both of you, and also good morning. So thank you for being here with us. Philip, we had a show on last night with Joseph Stetter, one of our team members. The show was called Resume Whisperer, and we were talking about the power of etiquette and manners in a job search. And to me, when I think of the polished professional, being polished really starts from within, and then it exudes out into so many ways. And in a job search as well, you must have polish and finesse and etiquette and manners. But let's look at it in its most basic form. Do you have to be rich? Do you have to come from a certain background or live in a certain country to be polished?
Absolutely not. On the contrary, I think those people that have been born into this world who walk around with arrogance and lots of money behind them, they haven't been served. And it's very unfair, I think, in many ways. Yes, they're privileged in many, many ways. Money is no object and they sometimes feel entitled. It's generally a lot of people out there who understand that, okay, I didn't have the best start in life. My parents might not have been able to afford to send me to school, or maybe I grew up in a situation where I saw a lot of bickering and nastiness. And unfortunately, there's that adage in life, monkey see, monkey do. Now, we can choose in how we want to continue with our lives. We can polish ourselves. And I hate the expression, fake it until you make it. But if you think about it, fake it until you make it. In other words, act until you become. And that for me is hugely powerful, because we can all find people that we look up to. We might not get the privilege to meet them in person, but we can look at people in this world who we admire, who we think, wow, that's a beautiful mentor. That's someone who I would like to try and be similar to or like. And we can find these incredible tools to push ourselves forward. And we've only got ourselves to blame in this world. You know, if you're born poor, that's one of those things. If you die poor, that's your issue. That's your problem. That's where you made a mess of your life.
I love what you just shared. You know, something that's coming to mind for me is, you know, I'm big on watching reality TV shows because I love to watch when people are in competitive situations and how they actually react to one another. And anyway, without going through all the details, there's one show and it's specifically about money and people who don't come from money and people who do. And they're given offers in secret where they can accept a certain amount of money or they can donate it to the entire team. And this one gentleman, he's a farmer and they offered him the secret offer and he said, don't even ask me that question. My integrity is not for sale. And I thought so much about that. That is a polished professional, isn't it?
Boom, gives me goosebumps. Gives me goosebumps, 1,000,000%. And that is about honesty. That's about being true to oneself. That's about being sincere. And funny enough, actually, this is really, it's something I would love to share. Lately, Harley, my little boy, got some wonderful, these, I don't know what you call them, but they're these little balls, and when they touch a piece of metal, they open up into some gadget. And he took these into school on Monday and got back on Monday evening, and they were not in his bag.
Oh.
And I just thought, crumpets, he goes to a top school, lovely parents, the kids have met all the kids, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And how do we address this? So, you know, if it starts off at this young age, and maybe it was done in, well, I don't even want to say, because, you know, when you're 9 years old, you know damn well that you don't help yourself to other people's things in life. It's not yours. It's not your property. And that is pure blatant theft. So what's going on in the background? Why or how did that child, whoever took those toys, get to that stage where he feels or she feels that she can do something like that? And hearing your story is just boom, because we may look at this world and point a lot of fingers, but there's a lot of good in this world, a huge amount of good in this world. Unfortunately, the news does present itself, and unfortunately, in light where we see a lot of negativity, but we should create happy news. We should really shout out from the rooftops on people like that farmer. Don't question my integrity. I know exactly where I'm taking this.
What a fabulous story that you just shared. So I have a question, and I'm sorry that this happened to Harley. How did Harley respond, and what did you say in response?
He was quite nervous to share with us. He thought we were going to be upset with him that he took them to school. And on the contrary, not at all. Kerry and I said, you would just share them, and that's wonderful. The last thing we thought that would happen is that they would go missing. But he was upset. He was very upset. But he said, you know, would you and Mum deal with it in the best possible way, which we're going to have to, because up until today's now Friday, we still haven't heard anything, or there's been no resolution. So we've got to really hit this on the head, because if you let something like this fall by the wayside, the chances are, and the likelihood of it happening again is very apparent. And not only that, people in this world need to be held accountable. And funny enough, just before Christmas, I took my beautiful daughter Tabitha to this beautiful market, Notting Hill Gate. It's Portobello Road area. And while we were, and lots of people, you would love it, Dr. JACALYN. It's just phenomenal. And you can get vintage clothing and you can get antiques and blah, blah, blah. And while we were there, this woman came running down and said, stop those three boys, they've been blah, 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 thieving. And unfortunately, these sort of areas are just rife for theft and for people to take advantage, because it is so busy. And hopefully in human nature, we want to trust, we want to feel that we can leave our car keys or leave our wallet, or, you know, leave our mobile phone on the tabletop or the counter when we go to the loo. But unfortunately, the world has changed rapidly, and maybe it's always been similar, but now we know more about it because of digital technology, and we know more about it because it's reported through our different devices. But really, at the end of the day, we need to go back to a world where it's safe to leave your front door open. It's safe to be able to put something on a table and know that it's going to be there when you get back. But again, we've got to build equality in this world, and we can do that by creating beautiful professionals. We can create that by giving people these quintessential tools on how to elevate themselves, giving them these tools to actually start to believe in themselves, despite the fact that they might have been shunned or put down growing up. Every single one of us has a golden nugget and more inside us. Every single one of us has the ability to do something phenomenal with their lives.
I love the passion that you are sharing today. You are fired up, and I can relate to that totally. I recently started as a spinning instructor. It's not my first time, but in this position, and there's a bin where you can leave your things. And so I really thought long and hard about it. And I thought, should I leave this in there? And I said, you know, I'm leaving it in there, and I'm not thinking anything about it. It's in the public domain. Anyone can come in and they can, because I thought to myself, if someone needs it that badly, then let them take it. And I'll have to find a way, but I'm very trusting. And what I find is that to some people, that's a weakness because they know that you're trusting, so they can take advantage. But then I also look at it as taking a step back and saying, if someone decides to take your things, that's on them. They're going to have to live with that, and give them grace and let them go on. So, what other attributes do you instill in your clients in terms of being a polished professional? It starts within and then it goes out. So how you treat someone else, how you show up. And I think even in your demeanor and how you handle unfortunate things that happen or things that don't go your way, that says a lot about how polished a professional you are, doesn't it?
Again, 1,000,000%. You know, little things, Dr. Jackalyn, that we talk about, that 6-second rule, giving someone the ability to take a step back, giving someone the ability just to pause for a moment and assess a situation. Ask yourself, why did that person speak to me in such a way? What's rattling their cage? It might not be me, you know, and little things like that. And everything in this world is very much about improving our communication skills. One of the biggest things we go through, funny enough, is getting people to understand the power of gratitude, the importance of gratitude, because whether you are a young kid in the heart of Uganda, where Enoch lives, in the Push Child Foundation charity and the orphanage, they are still grateful because they are grateful for what they have rather than what they don't have. And every single one of us in this world can look at that and elevate ourselves, because gratitude is something that, to wake up every morning and put your feet on the floor and be alive, boom, that is gratitude. That is, wow, I woke up today. So we can continue in so many areas on this. We can really take this into deep levels, and I know we don't have enough time today, but yeah, this makes me very emotional. Yes, this makes me very heated in a positive way, because again, Dr. Jackalyn, we're in a world now where you walk around the streets of London and you see homeless people and you think, crumbs, how did you get to that stage? You can't point a finger at that person. But with all due respect, when someone is holding up a sign and says, I need money for food, well then surely you've got 2 hands and 2 arms that you can go out there and find a menial job to earn some money to go and feed yourself. I hope that makes sense. I really do. And I think one of the key areas of this journey of being a polished professional is think about all the things that serve you, like being punctual, being considerate to others, you know, learning the importance of cultural differences and cultural etiquette. That is fundamental, because this world has become so small. We've just been talking on the Royally Rich show about, you know, China and how important China is in this global economy, but not only that, how the Chinese are coming to be educated in the United Kingdom. And we as Westerners mustn't just expect them to fit in. We need to guide them and steer them and show them the way and how do things work here. Make them feel a part of the system rather than shunning them and pointing a finger at them and saying, oh, did you see the way that behaved? Well, they did this or that. We are so quick to judge. And I can continue and get really deep into this.
Well, I'm overcome with emotion as well. I started getting choked up when you were talking, because I think to myself, I know people who've had such a tough time in life, and all of us endure certain things and come through the other side, hopefully. But there are people who really have it tough. And yet sometimes they're the most generous. They're the most gracious. And they don't look at themselves and go, oh, boo-hoo, why is me? They're out there saying, hey, how can I help you? I have this. Let me give you half of it. Let me give you 3/4 of it. And there's really something to be said about that.
Dr. Jacalyn, there's such a beautiful example of that. I'm trying to think. Anyway, let me describe the scene. There's a chap who goes into a restaurant, and he goes up to these people eating their lovely pizzas and stuff. He says, I'm really hungry, may I have a slice of pizza? And they shun him. And behind the scenes, someone goes and buys a couple of pizzas and walks down the street and gives a pizza box with a pizza in to various homeless people. And that same individual walks down the street and sidles up to one of the homeless people and says, oh, I haven't really eaten. Would you mind if I had a slice of pizza? Sure, have a slice of my pizza. And that, for me, it makes me angry. It makes me so upset, because why is it that people with so much money and so much at their fingertips, why can't they impart small amounts and do random acts of goodness and kindness? We did a pledge last year for Push Child Foundation, a genuine pledge saying, please spare $1, spend $5, spend, you know what? Zero. I'm part of a platform called whatever it's called. But when I say on this platform, I'm talking mega rich people, selling helicopters, selling condos for £45 million here in Knightsbridge in London, selling villas in Tuscany, selling places in Paris, blah, blah, blah. These are the type of people that are doing deals on this platform. I put this out to that platform. I might as well be peeing into the ocean, to be quite frank. And this really does concern me. We as human beings need to start waking up. And I've said this to you before, Dr. Jacalyn. If you give $100 away to someone who needs it more than you do, have you ever missed that $100?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. It goes along with what I learned in corporate when I was working with clients selling loyalty programs. It's when you have something that you've earned and it's tangible, you can look at it over and over and go, oh, I remember how I got this and why I got this. But when it's cash, it just comes and goes. It's, as you know, sometimes we're flush with it and sometimes we're not. So when someone needs it more than we do, I think one thing that we have to address, which could be an entire series by itself, is when we encounter someone who is homeless, our first reaction might be, oh, they're going to use it for drugs, or they have some kind of addiction. And maybe they will, maybe they do, who knows? But we have a choice without making a judgment. Someone's coming and saying, I need something. Can you help me? And I might have shared this with you before, but I was actually in a large city and I was in a place and I couldn't get out of the door because there was a homeless person literally blocking the door. So I had to knock on the door and say, sir, would you let me out? And he was surrounded by these bags of trash that it appeared that he had opened them, but who knows? And the trash, bank statements, everything were all over the place. So he had no shoes on and he was wearing a Christmas sweater. It wasn't Christmas. It was too small. And he said, I'm really hungry. And I said, you know what? I will give you some food. I just have to go around the corner and I'll come back. He's like, no, and I said, no, I mean it. I promise you, I will come back. So I went and I got him food. I have to admit, I was nervous. I was nervous that when I gave him the food, I didn't know how he was going to react or if he was going to be violent. This came up to my head and I thought, God's with you, do the right thing. So I gave him the food and he was so grateful. There was no fallout. There was nothing that came from it. And I thought, wow, that literally cost me, I don't know, $20. And maybe I made that guy's day. I don't know.
I made his day. You would have made his year, no doubt. And on that note, again, excuse me if I get emotional on this, just before Christmas, when we met Tabitha, Harley came with us to the Portobello Road Market. And Tabitha was running slightly late. So Harley and I went in to have a coffee and a cinnamon bun. And as we walked in, Harley noticed that there was a young man sitting out on the street who was obviously very much less fortunate than anyone around that area. And when we were in there, I was purchasing cinnamon, and Harley said, Dad, can we get one more cinnamon bun, please? And he took it outside. So
Wow. But what happened after that?
The guy, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face, a coffee and a cinnamon bun for that person is most probably the only thing he was going to ever eat that day. And this is in the UK. You must dig into the deepest parts of Africa and India. And, I've been in Pakistan, Dr. Jacalyn, and I'll tell you something. When you see people swimming in a river under a bridge because people are throwing rotten steak up to the birds of prey, and is the bird of prey going to get it first, or does it land on the water and these people are swimming to grab that rotten meat so they can eat that day? That, for me, is the scariest thing I think I've ever seen.
Whew, that is definitely scary. And something I want to point out is that none of us know where our journey is going to take us, but we absolutely do know people who have been homeless in their life and people who were at the very top of their game. And all of a sudden, because of divorce or loss of a job or whatever, living in a car. I know a number of people we've interviewed on this platform, and it took incredible courage. And they remember the stories of people who supported them and helped them along the way.
Always. And Dr. Jacalyn, this is something we were talking about in a meeting this morning. This boils down to mental health, really, at the end of the day. This thing that sits on our shoulders is amazing. I think we tap into 6 or 7 or 8 or 10, maybe some very bright people tap in a bit more into the percentage of their brain power, but it's not huge. But it's also a very dangerous part of the human body because it can really send you into the darkest of places because of circumstances, or because something triggers, or because of a past addiction. It haunts you later, or it's got some effect on you. And I tell you what, we as human beings, we need to address this, because let me tell you right now, if we thought coronavirus was a challenge, well, we've got a bigger, way bigger pandemic on our hands, and that is mental health. That is dealing with the influence. And I mean, we need technology. Absolutely. The world's moved on. We need to accept change. But what is technology? In other words, the influence within these devices doing to the youngsters of this world, and not even youngsters, to people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It is all in front of us. We are seeing things happen every single day. Why are the Joneses always on there swanning on their yacht, and poor old me, I'm working? Or why is someone doing this? And we are being influenced the whole time. And this is a very, very scary place to be. And this is why understanding that the human characteristics that we have, that we get taught, need to be taken on board very seriously. And this goes back to being that polished person, being that incredible polished professional, being that person who understands how important it is to lead by example, how important it is to go down that route of gratitude and grab, there's that, attitude with gratitude, or gratitude and attitude. Things like practicing mindfulness. And obviously education is key. If we can find, and everyone now with the modern technology, we can educate ourselves. We really do need to understand the importance of how we as human beings need to make every moment count for ourselves, but not for ourselves, for the people that we surround ourselves with, because we have the ability to influence. Now, we can influence people badly and poorly, or we can influence them and put them and point them in the right direction. And every single one of us has that opportunity to make a change in someone's life that we might not even know we made that change. It could be that beautiful word of encouragement. It could be that beautiful word of, hey, why don't you try this in your life? And that person takes your guidance and steering, and boom, they make an amazing success because you gave them that thought and that guidance and steering. And every single one of us has that ability.
Very well said. And I can't help but think that what you have behind you, it's so meaningful. And I really feel like that is the polished professional. Would you like to tell us a little bit more?
100%. For those of you out there who have never heard of this incredible woman who unfortunately is no longer on the earth, Maya Angelou, she really did sum this up. And people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And if you think about that, if we incorporate that into everything we do in this world, so if you're running a business out there and someone leaves your business feeling bitter and twisted, or that you didn't serve them properly, or you made them feel that they didn't belong, let me tell you right now, you will never see that person again. Or did you go above and beyond and make that person feel so special, so unique, so elevated when they were in your presence. And let me tell you right now, people go to stores and go and do business with people, who they like, people who they trust, and when they have a great warm, fuzzy feeling about, wow, that was a standout moment for me. That is what we incorporate in our organization, known as hospitality intelligence.
Philip, hospitality intelligence is a concept that I think we need to dig into. We might not be able to get through it today, obviously, but I'm also wondering, as a polished professional, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is providing hospitality, do we still need to incorporate setting boundaries? How do we keep the client happy? How do we focus on how we're making other people feel and still have boundaries?
And that's through being a polished professional. That's understanding the importance of the art of good conversation, not using slang, not using words that don't mean much, or using words that mean, so they're such big words you don't have a clue, you've just bamboozled me, you've just belittled me. We need to understand polished language skills, or language of a professional. We need to understand the importance of our body language. How and what is my body communicating to you? All of these aspects can be taught. All of these aspects we can take on board with the right coaching, the right steering, the right guidance. And these are not tips or tricks. If you want a tip or a trick, go on the internet, do your scouring around. But if you really want serious tools and skill sets, this is what this is about. And we can learn, and I love using this sort of analogy, we can actually tell someone to disappear in such a way that they look forward to the journey, with the art of a polished language, with the art of diplomacy, with the art of holding that your boundary and saying, with all due respect, I hear where you're coming from, however, I'm not going to accept the way you just spoke to me, and you can continue speaking to me like that, however, I'm not going to accept it, and we don't really have anything further to discuss. Now, I haven't been rude, I haven't been negative, I've been negative and pushing the person away, but I haven't been negative toward that person. I've just, boom, I brought down the shutters in a very clear, concise point.
Thank you. I want to just share a comment, and then I've got a comment for you. We've got someone watching on YouTube, Joy Only. Joy Only, great subject. Thank you. Thanks for being with us. We'd love if you would subscribe to our channels. Philip, a question I have for you about that is, when we think about how we make people feel, we think about being a polished professional, and we also think about setting boundaries. I remember when I was in corporate that a good negotiation is when both parties walk away feeling like they were heard and they took something from the conversation or the negotiation. So if we say, okay, I've heard what you have to say, I think we're at a disconnect right here, I'm going to hold my ground, and unfortunately, I don't think we can continue. That other person's not going to feel so good, right? The other party. So how do we manage that?
Again, I personally feel that this idea of one-upmanship, someone's going to learn, someone's going to walk away with a bitter taste in their mouth. And if we can at least circumvent that one-upmanship attitude, in other words, look, there's always going to be a party in a negotiation who might not be overly happy with the full outcome, but they're still reasonably receptive to it. It's better than what they were expecting, maybe, or it's better than, you know, what they ever imagined, or who knows. But the most important thing is, why can't we as human beings find some common ground rather than trying to bully each other or push each other into those awkward moments and situations? And that's again where the ego gets involved. That's where the arrogance gets involved. And as you know, our dear friend and business colleague Anthony Willoughby, he's got the most beautiful phrase: we need substance without arrogance in this world, because there's so much arrogance with zero substance.
It's so true. By the way, you sounded like him. That was freaking me out a little bit.
I try my best. Anthony speaks beautifully.
You sounded just like him. So what's coming up for me is that these are really important topics that are not just in business, but in life as human beings, how we interact with each other. We don't have to be on the same page. We don't have to agree. You can feel one way and I can feel another, but we need to understand judgment about what the other person feels is not appropriate and that it's not necessary. We want to hear what the other person has to say, and then we can still have our boundaries. And I think that's where people become very uncomfortable. And so then they lash out at the other person because they don't know how to say what is what they need, but they know that what you're asking they can't agree with. So then they kind of attack you.
Because they don't know anything better, or they feel maybe cornered. I feel in that sort of situation, maybe they haven't listened to the whole full story. Again, this goes back to the art of listening. Let's learn to listen to understand rather than respond. And not all negotiations are going to be straightforward or simple, especially when they're awkward scenarios that the laws have to get involved and all these sort of things. But at the end of the day, Dr. Jacalyn, it boils down to respecting one another firstly by setting very clear and sort of a clear agenda for a start. Don't throw curveballs in there, then bring something out of the blue that wasn't even on the agenda. And I think the whole journey in this is really respecting one another's input on a negotiation, or respecting one another's view and points of view, and why are they coming in at that particular angle rather than this particular angle. And this is a whole different subject in its entirety, but that's just scratching the surface.
Well, I think we need to schedule another couple of episodes to go through this. And one thing I just want to mention also is that, being that I'm a big advocate for the fitness industry, today we're dressed up. I've got my pearls on, you're in your suit. And so people can probably relate to the polished professional, but there's still a way to be polished as a fitness instructor or as a farmer, or in any example. There is a way that you can still show up with integrity of how you're going to treat the other person.
Dr. Jacalyn, everything, horses for courses. For me, this elevates me. Absolutely. I feel very confident in my, and I take my clothing very seriously, even if I'm going, to the beach. And by the way, I'm not a branded person. Yes, I've got some wonderful clothing, but I'm not drawn to a specific brand, or I have to have a brand. Not at all. One thing I do work on is, if I'm going to be wearing a shirt, I'm going to make sure the color is correct for me. B, it fits me according to my figure and my shape. I'm not just going to wake up one morning and just throw a whole lot of odd clothes on, because that looks like A, Stevie Wonder's dressed you, and B, you put no thought into that. So even as you say, if you're going to the gym, it doesn't need to be Under Armour or whatever, Lululemon or blah blah. It can be a sweatshirt from the local, your local clothing store. It could be, here we've got many stores. It could be, I don't know which store it could be for. I go shopping at charity shops, for example, and I found some of the most incredible clothing there. The bottom line is think about what you need to wear, and always put your best foot forward. So if you're going to go to the gym and you're a gym instructor, then dress accordingly. Dress like you take your job seriously. Dress according to that people will feel comfortable approaching you. We need to think this through. And again, even if you're working on a building site, you can still wear clothing that you are respectable in, and that you just not sitting there like a puffed up marshmallow, and you haven't given it any thought. And with all due respect, it's every single industry has the opportunity for you to show up, and it's about making that effort. It's about thinking what is best on you, what color suits you, and how can I show up looking the best of me to represent myself, because everything's about representation. And never forget, people see you before they hear you.
You checked all the boxes. Something I just want to add on to that is that sometimes we can show up in our polished professional mode, even if it is at a building site or if it's at a fitness class, yet our behavior, our actions are not commensurate with how we're showing up. And I'll give an example. I've mentioned this before. The one fitness class that I go to on a regular basis, it's not inexpensive. And there's only room for so many people. And what I found, it just happened yesterday, people will just stop in the middle of the class, go through their things, get their phone and scroll through Instagram. And I think, isn't that disrespectful to the instructor as well as to yourself? Why did you dedicate this time and this money to do this? And for some reason, you're going to be scrolling on Instagram. What is going on? And what it is you just want to check out and you don't want to do the work. But to me, I feel it's disrespectful to the person themselves, to me as a community member, because now the light from your phone is, and to the instructor. But if you were to ask some people, they might say, well, it's my money, I'm paying for it. And when we get that kind of attitude, to me, that's the ego again.
It's even deeper than ego. Yes, it's ego, but it's in my opinion, it's just plain ignorance. It's plain addiction as well. They feel they're missing out. This is where we're sitting on a very thin piece of ice, in the sense that all these applications that we upload and load onto our phones and our laptops and pads and stuff, they make them so you get addicted to them. And what was so wonderful and refreshing, just when we were in Italy skiing, I don't go with my phone roaming, so I don't have internet on my phone. Yes, I can pick up internet when I get to a Wi-Fi place, but wow, no one. I didn't look at my phone once until I got to a place that I would obviously check in with the office and things like that. But it was just so refreshing, and I'm telling you, every single one of us needs to really start understanding that time is money, money is time. Okay, so let's look at this from an equation, because if people are driven by money and you ask them how much time they're spending on their phones, for example, and then you equate that to, okay, what's your hourly rate? Let's use dollar terms. If you're spending, let's say hypothetically, 3 hours a day times 7, that's 7 to 21 hours a week, and that's being kind, and you're worth $20 an hour. It doesn't take a genius to work out what 21 times 20 is and what you've just lost out on an earning potential, for example. That's just a metaphor. It's a way to sort of explain to people that we as human beings do waste our time, and the time's not going to give you any refunds. Time's not going to give you any more time back. If you waste time, it's gone. You can't relive it. Whereas one can always make more money, but we can't get more time back. So all of us out there really need to start waking up on how important it is that if you choose, for example, to have the luxury, A, to go to a gym and a class, boom, I wish I could do that on a regular basis, and I'm moving in that direction. I'm getting more structured. I used to spend a lot of time going running. I'm back into the rhythm. But the most important thing is use your time wisely and embrace it. Be present, because you're going to get so much more out of it.
And Philip, I'm in complete agreement with you. And as we get older, we realize that time is the gift. And when we're younger, I'll admit to it myself, a lot of wasted time. What I find specifically on Instagram, and I'm only calling them out because when I am on there, we're streaming there right now. So we're providing education and we're giving information to business owners and to people about being a polished professional, but just scrolling through, looking at pictures of the movie stars, and everybody's happy and beautiful. And I find that I get depressed. I can't do it. I think to myself, I'm never going to look like her. I can work out till whenever. I'm not going to look like him, So I find that I can't do it. I want to be educated and I want to feel good about myself and my life. And I do. But sometimes when I see what's on there, I don't think it's all true and I don't want to be part of it.
100%. It's aimless. Whereas using these devices to our benefit, everything's got a benefit. There's always a yin and yang. And again, I'm not saying you can't take 5 minutes out to look at your social media and check in with what some friends are doing. I think that's great. It connects us, in their positives. But spending hours just aimlessly scrolling, oh my word. Yes, find something that's going to elevate you. Find something that's going to spur you on. Find something that's going to serve you, how you can serve others. And that for me is a really, let's use these tools to the benefit of ourselves, but let's benefit other people.
2024, the Polished Professional, the year of serving others. I like it.
100%. And we're launching a brand new Polished Professional products in toward the end of March. We're running 8 2-hour sessions, and it's going to be phenomenal. People will be able to hop on, hop off. They can book a session. They can book all 8 sessions, and it is going to be phenomenal. The Polished Professional is again a product that we have been grateful for running, and we are always, as an organization, looking at ways at how we can tweak it. How can we make it even better, or how can we offer even more than we said we're going to offer? And we promise, and I promise you right now, we over deliver. And the Polished Professional is going to be superb. So it's coming in. There it is. There's the dates coming in April. Leanne and the team have been working hard on the content. We've got guest coaches coming in, and it really is going to be more value for money than anything else.
And as we started the show off with a number of testimonials from people who have walked through your doors, everyone has the highest compliments and testimonials to give. So please do go over to the BritishSchoolOfExcellence.com. Look at the upcoming courses, and you don't have to have the interest of being an etiquette coach. The interest is being a better human being, finding out how you can improve yourself. If this is the year you just made some resolutions of what it was you wanted to accomplish, every one of us can be better off building our confidence and changing lives by taking this course. So
100%, Dr. Jacqueline. And, you know, I sent you a testimonial a couple of months ago about a wonderful young man who reckons his investment was 16,500% from the Polished Professional. That was his return. That was his return, in his words. And don't take it from me, but there's someone who's flipped their lives around and he's living a life that he wants to live. And we've got to start defining our etiquette and sort of EQ related goals for 24. And it could be anything as simple as making a difference in someone's life, or getting into the habit. Forget digital. I'm going to write thank you letters and thank you notes to people who looked after me or served me or I've had dinner with. It could be anything. But the moment you start with something, just take action. Because it's the old adage, and I say this to every student that walks through the door: you can stand on the top of the hill with your mouth open and wait for a duck to fly in. It ain't going to happen ever in a million years. You've got to go and find that duck, shoot it out the sky, put it in the pot, and that's the only way you're going to eat your duck. Because if you've always done what you've always done, you're always going to do what you've always done.
I can't think of any better way to close out the show today, Philip. Please let people know how they can reach you and who you would like to contact you.
If you have the opportunity, you can contact us through hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Please look at our website, which is thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. And we are on all the social channels, delivering content, delivering material, sharing with you what we're up to. And that's on your Insta, that's on your TikTok, that's on Twitter, that's on LinkedIn, that's on, what have I missed out? Yeah, YouTube. We are really making Facebook, Google ads, all of those sort of things. Just reach out to us. We always say that the door's open and we love talking to people.
Well, my friend, what a great way to start off our first episode for 2024. I thank you kindly. And I once again remind our viewers and listeners that the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show is coming up. It's with Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard. And Philip and the British School of Excellence are regulars on there. You are on there every week. And they can see and listen to the show here on USA Global TV and Radio on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And of course, the Power of Etiquette and Manners is here every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So thank you for being here.
And we've got a guest next week, so I'll be sharing that with you, Dr. Jacqueline, to put out on social media. And we've got a very strong focus on our Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire episodes, where we've had last year, as you know, Dr. Jacqueline, we had some of the most incredible talent coming on, people from a global perspective, people who've set up multi-million-dollar companies, who've helped the world through the power of networking, Dr. Ivan Meisner. We had that incredible Zarifa Ghaffari, who was tortured and burnt and because she wanted to give Afghan women education, yet she stuck her ground and she's done the most incredible things. If any of you want to know more about Zarifa Ghaffari, go on to your Netflix and look at the episode In My Hands. We had the most beautiful master of tea from Twinings, who is the most passionate person who educated and shared the journey of tea and the journey of this remarkable household name in the United Kingdom and globally, Twinings Tea. And I could keep going on. I know our time's short, but Live, Learn, Teach, and Inspire is a great episode. We look forward to bringing more value, more education, more fun to this amazing platform that you've so wonderfully dedicated your life to, Dr. JACALYN. And I know you've got some very, very exciting things coming up for 2024. I'm champing at the bit because you've been saying you're going to share lots of things with me. We just haven't had time to properly connect. But I know for a fact that you have been really, really working exceptionally hard to bring in a lot of new, exciting development for 24.
Absolutely. Thank you, Philip. I'll be announcing it live here on our second anniversary show, the reunion show, and our award ceremony on Sunday, the 14th, on USA Global TV and Radio and all of our affiliate platforms. So do join us. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So we'll look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you again, my friend. I look forward to seeing you there. Hopefully you can join us.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye for now, everyone. Take care.
Take care, everyone. All the best.
Bye.